lost. Truly, we are getting lost in Indiana with a local Facebook group, Get Lost Indiana, sharing with you some of the great destinations of our state. We'll also go straight to the edge again with Paul Poteet. We're also getting our yoga on today with Embark Yoga. So we're getting lost and getting flexible today on the edge.
Your audio and video source featuring Indianapolis tech trends, marketing industry champions, and business innovation. This is Edge of Indy. Broadcasting from Edge Media Studios. Let's get today's conversation started.
3, 2, 1.
Well, welcome back, Indiana and the world. Hey, thanks for joining us on Edge of Indy today. If you don't know what this show's about, if you haven't seen it before, then shame on you. Where have you been? Hey, Edge of Indy is all about focusing on local Indianapolis and Indiana businesses and organizations that are moving and shaking and really making news here in Indiana. We feature people and organizations and causes that make Indianapolis a great place to work, visit, and live. So we ask you regularly, choose local and choose local often here in Indianapolis. That's what Edge of Indy is all about. So thanks for joining us. My name's Aaron Sparks. I'm the CEO of Site Strategics. And to my right, we have the director of Marketing Services, Brittany Simpson.
I answer to anything, so that will do.
That was an odd call.
Sure. Hi.
Hi, Britt. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm a little lost today, and I think you are too. Yay, you're lost.
Hey, there we are. And Sara is our cheerleader for getting lost. Sara Risley is the creator of Get Lost Indiana. Sara, how lost are you right now?
Moderately to extremely, I think. Actually, I'm very comfortable here.
Oh, yeah?
Not that
Good.
lost. This is great.
Excellent.
And I cannot wait to tell you
I think
all
she's
about
comfortable
this.
because we're lost.
It's a regularity that we
There's
are.
people that are more lost than I am.
Yes.
I love that.
And this is where we live, work, and visit right here, and we're still lost.
And it's not that strange, actually, folks, if you know us. Sara, you've actually been a fan of the show for a while, and it was great to be able to have you on today.
Tonight.
See,
Again,
there it is.
We don't even know what time of day it is. That's how lost we are.
Well, you're the founder of Get Lost Indiana, a Facebook group. So tell us about this awesome community you've developed, and then we'll just jump in.
Okay, so I guess I've always been a journaler. I've always written down where I've gone, what I've done, people I've met. I'm a big community person, so I have a journal. I mean, ever since elementary school, that just kind of
That's a
logs
big journal.
my life. They're
Were
like
you
many-
lost
there's
back
like
then?
Stacks. I've always been lost. Always been lost. So I have a stack. I mean, they're pretty much in the same place. They're probably going to go to some shelf of some library here in Indiana when I pass on, and maybe kids will study. They'll pull one and try to figure out who this person, Sara Risley, was. But I've graduated to a Franklin planner because I'm an event person. I need to keep track, and I need to open it. I have an iPhone, but I want to be able to see what I'm doing, and things change, so just change it on paper. Facebook came along, social media came along, and I started putting some of my adventures online. And friends encouraged me to do something with it, and I thought it's just my life. But they enjoyed the way I write and the way I present, and gosh, I take pretty good photographs too. So I got this idea because
You're so humble, Sara.
I didn't know that, though. I mean, these are things that I discovered, that I
Yes.
found, that I #found because of Get Lost. I mean, it's a whole new thing, and I wish I would have known about it before. But I think I was lost one day, and I'm like, gosh, I should encourage this. I should encourage other people to get lost, because when you do, you don't have expectations, but a lot of times what you find is just amazing. So it's like I encourage people to get lost. I want people to get off the couch, get off the sofa, get off the device.
Yeah.
Talk to strangers. I encourage U-turns and
Safe ones.
safe ones.
Don't use a GPS.
Well, a lot of them, I'll tell you, are on back roads.
Yep.
And I do U-turns for goats. And I think that is really one of the Yeah.
Say
know what
that.
that- I
Say
don't know
that
what that
again
means.
for us.
Like you see a goat and you turn to go see it again?
Not just goats, maybe, but goats. Like, have you not taken the back roads of Indiana to see the goat farms that are here?
You know, I haven't, but
They
I'm
are
going to
among
now.
us, next to the llama farms.
Maybe, yeah.
I also stopped for those. Yes. And so traveling the back roads, I also had a job that took me into other counties. So when I'd have a sales call for my job,
You're like, never mind, I'm driving around.
the rest of the day, I would get lost and I would talk to the people. I would go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
I would try the food, and then, feature it. And it's just,
I get it. I get it. We
No, we
go camping on a regular basis down in Brown County or a number that we got a couple 3 scouts in the family, so we're all over the place. But it's great to be able to take the back roads, not just take the highway or 465, what have you, but actually start finding some of the back roads to get
Right.
there, because those areas are not usually well traveled. You're going to find some very unique stuff.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I
It's
think
great.
that's really what's special about Get Lost and about what I'm doing is that I'm not focusing on the top 10 anything. It's like a day. In Saturdays, I get lost like hardcore from morning to evening because there's so much to do in Indiana. I mean,
So it happened pretty organically. Like you just got lost and you're like, I'm going to document this. How did you grow your following? Because you've got a huge Facebook following and it's like, it all happened. Like you're not paying these people. You're not paying to get in front of them. Like
I've
they
not.
just are following you and getting lost with you. And
They're
the
all-
whole thing is kind of like,
They
what?
really can't be following her if they're lost too.
they're telling me where to get lost, though.
That's
and
very
what's
deep.
So, yes.
So you have a bunch of random strangers telling you to
They're-
get lost.
But they're not strangers. Not all of them are. I mean, they're friends, but maybe we haven't met yet.
You wouldn't know
Isn't
if you did.
Because you're all facing other directions.
Sorry, it keeps on giving. It's
I love it.
fantastic.
It is. So like if I go to a county, say one of my favorite counties is Miami County, Peru, Indiana. Peru, Indiana is amazing.
Where in the heck is that?
So think
That away,
north.
yeah.
Yes. Kind
North.
of Lafayette-ish.
Oh, that's
area,
way
sort of.
outside of where I usually go. That's way up there. That's way up there.
I'm from Fort Wayne, so
Oh, you're
and I have
way-
family way down south, so I cover the state.
I like.
I do.
Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
But if I go to a county, I go to several places and make it a day getting lost, and then I do a feature, and not only do I mention the people that I met and places I went and tag them, then it just kind of scatters. It just kind of balloons. And so I can, every once in a while, I'll do a shout out to Peru, Indiana, and the friends that I've made there, especially like there's a German bakery.
Yeah, there is.
Whoa.
There's a Connie's little
Yep.
German bakehouse.
It's famous.
It is amazing.
do they make donuts?
No.
Look at Spatzel. No,
They-
no. Yeah, they do.
Butterkuchen.
I'm sorry. Bless you. What?
Okay, you just have to get lost in Peru, Indiana.
What
that's
is it
all I'm
called?
saying. Butterkuchen. Butterkuchen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I'm not spelling this right as I Google it.
Be careful what
Nope,
comes up on the
nope.
screen there.
Kuchen.
So broadly speaking, okay, so you're talking to us about this is a verb at this point in time.
That's a kind of
Actually,
I think it's a kind of karate, by the way.
It's
getting lost.
Someone
Lost is
actually made it a noun the other day and said, I think this would be a good get lost.
Ooh,
Wow.
I know.
Sarah, you're such a trendsetter. It's like-
yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, look at my silver streaks of distinction, everyone.
So let's I mean, for everybody to understand, it's about and I'll embellish, but you let me know if I'm on the right track here.
You're supposed to be off the track.
There's a pun here. All right, so it's about wandering with not the destination in mind, but actually the experience as you're getting there, right? So you have a destination, but it's the experience of what you find while you're traveling,
Exactly.
right? And also finding things that are noteworthy and be able to can mark them for friends and family and the get losters, right?
Actually, I call them adventurers They are Get Lost adventures because they are educational adventures. But you're right on track.
Cool.
I think the most important thing is to allow yourself to go somewhere, first of all, but then also to not have great expectations. You never know. And I think that's my thing is I go and I think I'll try this. Or, now when you have an invitation or you see an invitation from Facebook that says Hoosier Santas. What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm hooked. What is this?
Meeting at Dong's China Buffet. Yeah.
I got a Christmas story flashing in my head now.
Right? In Morrisville, right? In Morrisville.
Yep.
So, I mean, they had me at Hoosier Santas because I'm like, what is this group? So I'm curious and I'm nosy. And now, and so I drove. I said, hey, I have this thing called Get Lost. I want to see what you guys are all about. So now on my page, I have 30 Santas. Hoosier Santas that are following along and
30 stalker Santas?
Friends. Adventurers.
There you go.
So, but they invite me
That's
to
awesome.
their meetings and things now. That was Dong's China Buffet. This year, it was at Silly Safari.
Oh, very cool.
And so I was out there actually doing a selfie video with the reindeer in the background. And
Naturally.
This is like classic. I've never submitted anything to America's Funniest Home Videos, but this I did. They probably showed it and didn't let me know. But I was doing a selfie video, and behind me, 2 reindeer were showing some dominance, if you know what I mean. And I got it all. Oh.
So they probably didn't show that on television. or it had to be blurred.
They were just boys. The funny thing, though, is one of the guys from Silly Safaris was like, oh, they're just boys being boys. I mean, they were just boys being boys. And I, during my selfie video, I mean.
So what you're doing, I'm just going to skip on past that. What you're doing is you're showcasing groups and cultures where mainstream will rarely go. And you're coming to meet them. And they certainly appreciate it. And I mean, that is authentic connection. That's what social media is supposed to help and be useful for, right?
Right. Building community, engaging. Oh. Yes.
Brittany has a prop.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You thought I was not going to have props after last week, but I got another one.
So you kind of have to turn your head, though, and act like this is a steering wheel,
Yeah, you
Brittany.
gotta go that way.
Well,
Yeah.
this is not my good side.
You got to drive it there. You got to.
This is not my good side, Sarah.
Look at, oh my goodness, that's great. So you're correct. It's all about engaging community.
Cool.
I find the little known, but I also go to, I mean, it's kind of like wherever I go.
Right.
For example, I thought maybe you might ask me, well, Sarah, where have you gotten lost
I'm going to ask
lately?
you this, and that's 2 questions from now.
Should I wait? Okay, I'll wait.
I want to talk about, though, you really use this platform to help both profit and non-for-profit
Correct.
businesses as well. So
That
tell
is
us
right.
about why that
We
is
can't hear you.
important.
Roll down the window, would you?
I'm sorry. Get off the road.
Oh my goodness.
Tell us. Things have gotten out of control, and I'm sorry. This is insane.
I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You, ma'am, you brought this prop, and you should have known
Thanks a
better.
lot, Sarah.
Okay, fine. I'm going to put it away, and then we'll talk about how you're helping nonprofits and profit companies here in the community. Go.
Okay, so my background is mostly nonprofit events. Before I was doing Get Lost, I was volunteering all over the community. Because, again, I'm a community person, and I need to take a drink.
Yes.
It's
Have a
You're
sip.
fine.
sticky. Yeah.
See, I could be in the car right now.
You can pee in the car?
I could be in the car. I don't pee in cars. I'm a lady.
It sounds like you're all about getting lost. So any favorite experiences being lost that you want to share with us?
Yes. Also, just really quickly to answer Brittany's
Yes.
question before my lips started to stick into my teeth. I love community theater here in Indianapolis. at Fort Bend, Theater at the Fort. I mean, the Belfry, everywhere. So everyone's and I know that they need help. They need help filling seats. So whenever I'm available, if there's a show that I can fit in or something, I love to go and promote for them. So
That's really
absolutely.
nice. I'm sure they appreciate that too.
I'm
No.
sorry.
No,
Circle
absolutely.
back.
All right, so share us some of your favorite get losts.
You used it as a noun too.
I
This
know.
is wonderful.
I'm just
Okay. So, there's so many, and that's what's great about Facebook Memories is that Facebook Memories reminds me of all the stuff I've done. So one of my favorite was there was an event called the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, and it's a vintage motorcycle ride that happens. It's international. And the funds go to support prostate cancer and research. So I saw the information on Facebook. And again, I invited myself.
you're nothing but a crasher. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but I do good things for. So I love sidecars. I used to work at the Ronald McDonald House here, and they had a Gold Wing Road Riders event where they would come. And in 2 years that I was there were 2 different sidecars. And my favorite thing to say, and I'm sorry that you didn't ask me an icebreaker, because my favorite thing to say as an icebreaker is I've ridden around Monument Circle topless.
The giggle really.
I don't know how I'd actually get to that particular question.
But I already
Maybe that's something I should ask everybody.
I already gave you some background information. So anyway, the first year the sidecar came, it was like a Mork from Ork thing. Like it was covered. Like I sat in this pod. The second year there was a sidecar that was topless is what I call it. I don't know what you call it. So anyway,
I'm pretty sure it's not called topless. I don't know what it's called.
That's called convertible. How about that?
Okay. So back to Gentleman's Distinguished the Road Ride. Anyway, I said, here I am. I would love to feature. I'm here. I would love to feature event. By the way, if anyone has a sidecar, that would be an amazing feature.
So I could ride topless.
No.
Okay.
We're past that.
It was one time.
In college.
So that's what happened. And some really generous people that live kind of in the Nora area have a vintage bike with a vintage sidecar.
Ah, cool.
So
Sidecar Sarah.
vintage cap, hat, helmet.
Bonnet.
Oh my gosh.
Just because
What's
it's
happening
close
here?
to Easter. So 3 hours. It was a 3-hour tour
Oh my gosh.
around Indianapolis and on 465. I mean,
That's pretty cool.
it was amazing and all for a great cause.
Did it mess up your hair?
Eh.
It doesn't. It did, but it was okay.
But it was worth it.
I mean, I even had one of those because it was vintage. I had the scarf.
You have to.
Yeah.
You can't ride in those and not have a scarf.
You can't.
That would be illegal.
So that was definitely one of my favorites. I've canoed the White River, and I mean, every day is something different.
So for anyone who hasn't been lost with you yet, I highly encourage it because obviously she knows how to find a good time. Who is like who do you want to connect with? Who should join your community online? Who is this perfect for? I imagine you have like a type of person this is perfect for.
Actually, it's anyone who's leisure, travel, tourism, business, because I promote, and like I said, I have I can't believe that I have over 3,600 people who are tuning in and watching, and to go out in the community and people recognize me and say, hey, aren't you the Get Lost lady? And to be driving in my car on a Saturday and hear someone call in, because I listened to Pat Sullivan, WIBC, to listen along, and this happened. A caller called in and said, hey, I have a question about tiny homes. And all of a sudden, Pat Sullivan says, well, I don't know much about tiny homes, but I do follow the Get Lost lady, and I know that she just spent a couple nights in one, which I did, which was another favorite experience. So you better believe that I called in the show and said, hey, this is the Get Lost lady. Maybe I can skip the rest of your call line and talk to Pat about my tiny home experience. And it happened. So it's kind of catching on that I'm the Get Lost lady, and I kind of like that.
Do people ever yell at you like, get lost, lady?
No, but I think that's funny.
I'm going to next time I see you. So.
And I love it because it's a double entendre, and that's what I do when I go to businesses. That's part of the thing. It's part of the video. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this video that says get lost at wherever.
And you encourage families to get lost too, like take your kids to go get lost too, right? This is not just an initiative.
This is for everybody.
I try to lose my kids all the time.
You can't do that.
They always find their way home.
It's because you fed them.
Well, I mean, duct tape and a bag of kibble, and they still chew their way out. I don't know.
Geez.
Yeah,
He's
I don't
joking.
know.
This is not real. This is an anecdote. He doesn't really do that. That's weird.
My kids.
Have you ever had an interview that has gone so many
Oh,
ways?
yes.
Yes.
It's a regular thing here.
All right.
We like to get lost in our interviews.
The
as well.
squirrels are over there. Check them out. We certainly appreciate the work that you're doing to provide exposure to the little-known Hoosier people, places, and things.
Little-known Hoosier people.
Hoosiers,
Little
the people, places, and the things.
Right.
And the little Hoosier people.
But again, like I said, it's not just the little Hoosier people. It is
giant ones.
It's the last night in preparation. I did my homework for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I dined at Convivio.
Very good.
Italian restaurant.
Very good.
And so that was my latest nice feature. So very nice. Just trying to get the word out for all the businesses, and they are actually an Indiana-owned business too. So
Killer.
yeah.
So as you've been getting lost, why focus on these small businesses and entrepreneurs? Why do they need the help? In your words.
Well, advertising is expensive, and I think because I do have a niche again. I'm reaching different audiences, and I do it in a way that no one else is doing, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we're all about local here as well, and we certainly appreciate what you're doing. Any special shout outs for some unique get losters that are out there, or events or places that are just
top of mind.
Top of mind.
Wow. Oh, wow. That I didn't have time to prepare.
Do you have a favorite bar to get lost at? Is that inappropriate? I thought that was a fair question.
Wow, I do have some friends at McCormick and Schmick's. That's nice.
That's a nice place.
That's downtown, right?
Yeah.
Can't
I
really
think
get
I've driven
lost.
by that. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't been there, but I'm on my way.
Or she's returning from there, ladies and folks.
You need to get lost at their happy hour. Their food,
I do.
Their food happy hour is pretty amazing. If you've not,
I've
been
not.
to that.
That's
So,
good to know. Good
shout out
recommendation.
from McCormick and Schmick's. I'll be seeing you in a bit.
And I might be with her.
Wow. So, what would you
Look
say?
at him. He's
I'm
he doesn't know where to go.
trying to navigate.
He's lost.
Give me
Are
the
you
bloody
lost?
car.
I'd like to make people lost too. I mean,
I'm into it. Lean into it.
I'm lost in my head most of the day. So there's that. So if I could ask, what makes Indiana and Hoosiers so unique? Get it?
We're still
lost. I hate to say the cliche Hoosier hospitality, but I think it's true.
Cool.
Everywhere I go, I'm invading people's space sometimes.
You're a crasher.
I mean, another favorite. We can talk about favorites. We could bring up my page and show and tell for 2 years. But one of my, I have so many favorites.
Nobody will be offended.
I was in Martinsville, and there was a fishery. You know that we have like fisheries, like lots of them in Martinsville, and I was trying to get to one. Somehow,
She got lost.
I got
probably.
lost.
Yep.
And I ended up at a different fishery. And there was an old house. I walked up to this residence.
You're not supposed to go in unless you knock.
I knocked on the door
Okay.
and I was greeted by an older gentleman, probably in his 80s.
Oh.
Told him who I was. He got the golf cart out.
Oh.
We off-roaded through the fishery, through the forest,
It's a wet drive.
all over his property, and
Oh my
he was
gosh.
showing me all the different ponds and the different fish, and he had an albino deer on his property and horses.
Those are
and-
rare.
Have you ever seen an albino deer?
I actually have in Wisconsin.
Wow.
It's very rare to see it, but I've seen one. Have you? Other than that one?
Not other than that one.
Have you?
Last 3 times I've been hunting, I've not been seeing any deer, let alone albino
Uh-oh.
deer.
Now she's mad at you. Now she's going to storm off.
Not mad.
Just disappointed.
So why, to wrap up, why should we all be focused on local? I know we talk about it a lot of times, but in your words, why should we be plugged into the communities in which we live?
Because they're our neighbors, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're people trying to,
Feed their
you know,
families.
it's like
yeah.
me. It's like me. And like I am also, I didn't ever plan to incorporate Get Lost, but people are contacting me to tell their story.
Very cool.
So, and I'm very happy to do that, especially Hoosier. That's where my heart is, and that's what this is all about. If someday Get Lost International, pow. Yeah.
But if it's everywhere, then there's no place to get
And
lost.
how do you get lost
Yeah.
anymore? You have to have one place where it's not, and then you're still good.
Have you not been listening?
So it's about the journey, not the destination, right?
It's all about your journey. It's all about the people that you find once you're there. I've been lost like a lot. Another story.
There's a soundbite
Yes,
for
what-
you folks.
Another story. So I have relatives. This is great. This is like a 4-parter, maybe. I don't know. I have family that live in Christmas Village in Santa Claus, Indiana. Do you see where this is going? Do you see?
I think we're going to get lost with Santa, but go on.
So Christmas Village is a place. There is a hotel with a conference room. So I missed the turn into Christmas Village neighborhood where my
Ma'am,
gosh.
ma'am, please.
I shouldn't talk with my hands so much. So I miss the turn. I see the lodge, pull in the lodge, and I'm turning around, and here walk out 3 of the Santa Clauses that I met at Dongs.
Oh my
China.
gosh.
Yes. Okay. So then this is the same day. There was a gated community that wasn't exactly gated.
She's a lockpick.
Nothing keeps her away. She is not deterred by fences
Get
or
lost
gates.
and breaking in and breaking and entering.
There might not have been anyone at the little station.
No one with a weapon. So
So I went in, and because I'm a sponge. I want to learn. I want to see.
You want to find some more albino deer?
Exactly. More Santa Clauses in Santa Claus, Indiana. They're like leprechauns.
she just lets herself in. That's like my new favorite thing. Like, well, I'm
Here for a reason.
I'm
So
strategically lost right now. Okay, get off my back.
Here's my card. Officer, I'm doing this for you.
It's for the good of the people.
So I'm driving around, and I had no idea there were so many different lakes in wherever I was in this gated, not gated community. Because it wasn't a gate.
Poorly gated.
It was like a farm. It was almost like a farm market stand. It wasn't a gate. So I'm driving around, and I got so lost. Like, literally, I got so lost that I had swallowed my pride
And you admitted it?
And I had to ask a fellow
how do I get out of here?
passerby. Yes, he had to let me out.
I love it so much.
Yeah, that's the thing is that if
That's
you're getting
hard.
lost so often, odds are you will eventually need help to get back to civilization, right?
If you get lost so often, though, you're going to find out where you are. That's the fun thing about getting
You'll
lost.
learn a new route home. Just keep getting lost.
Or live off the land.
Start a new life somewhere new.
Oh, well.
I love it. I love it.
So final thoughts for people who might be stuck in a rut. What advice would you have for Hoosiers, even little Hoosiers, who need a break out of their routine?
So much to see right here. You know, one tank getaways, they are here. Just if you're at all clued in, and even if you're not, there are so many channels to find events, to find things that are going on in Indianapolis.
Yep.
Facebook is there, but there's also Bob Birchfield's around Indy.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah. So there are many weekends when there's too much to do. And if I ever hear anyone say there's nothing to do here, it's kind of like, all right,
You're a crazy
I
person.
really don't know what to say to you because there is like
Go tell them to break in someplace.
Just knock on a door. Let yourself in.
There's a space right there. Well, go in, they
all
won't
right,
mind.
you guys.
Have you crawled under that yet today? I love
Hey,
it. No,
but it makes for a great story.
Yeah, it
And
does.
people, and I think that's awesome. I'm not breaking in anywhere.
no, you knocked.
Officially, no, she's not.
It's first
Officer.
impressions. It's not. It's totally not. It's the idea that, and to answer your question, it's Hoosier hospitality. People are willing to tell their stories.
Absolutely.
They want to tell their stories, and they know that hey, I'm gonna tell their story to thousands.
And you know what?
Of other
Anybody who doesn't want to, you don't need to talk to them. 'cause
Tell them,
those are not
tell
your
them to get
people.
lost.
You tell them to get lost.
right.
That's right. Hand them a sticker, maybe.
So, Brittany,
Get lost. Yes.
wrangle us in here. Where are the
Yes,
socials?
please.
You never have me say this, but okay. let me do this on the fly. Facebook.com/GetLostIndiana, Twitter @GetLostIndiana, and Instagram @GetLostIndiana. High five on branding continuity. Good job.
Wonderful. That's great.
Very good.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Keep
Well,
telling stories. It's fun.
absolutely. And we'll certainly be watching you from afar and rooting for you to get lost regularly. And great building that the tribe of followers. And it's great to be able to, what you're doing is bringing exposure to a heck of a lot of local businesses and
really
causes. And they appreciate that a lot of times more than the big companies do, big organizations. I mean, that's where you can really tell somebody's story, and they truly do appreciate everything that you can do. So thanks so much for being the field operative for local Indiana.
And I am going to yell, "Get lost," if I see you out in public. Is that okay?
Please do that.
I'm going to act like I don't know you, though. Like, ma'am, get lost.
I will stop and be like,
There we go. So for all of our Edge of Indy listeners and watchers, if you come across Sarah, tell her to get lost
and
get lost often.
the sign. I
what
try
is-
to do this. It's
what is-
backwards. It's backwards. It's backwards. Get lost.
Okay, there.
I see the L.
Thanks so much, Sarah, for your time today. We really appreciate it, and you're doing an awesome job. What a fun
Thank
thing to
you.
do.
Now
Thank
get
you.
lost,
Now
please.
get
Hey,
lost.
get lost.
You.
All right. So with that, we're going to get lost with Paul Poteet on the Edge coming up right after these messages.